Hello and welcome back to the Pin Podcast. We're on episode number 8 of the Pin Podcast, where it's your source of modern topics with a vintage flair. I'm your host, Pinup Miami, and you can find me at Pinup Miami on Instagram or the Pin Podcast official on Instagram or our hotline 1-833-48-PINUP to find out about upcoming guests, topics, or if you have suggestions or shout outs, just let me know. And today, I am so happy to introduce you guys to an amazing person. She's beautiful inside and out. She's a self-proclaimed glamorous goofball herself, and a makeup artist, a cosplayer, a burlesque dancer, a model, international model, if I'm correct, and the Renaissance woman, a woman that could do it all. She is Susie Dahl. How are you doing?
Well, I mean, I'm great after that intro. I feel like I have a lot to live up to. I'm like, woo, child.
You're living up to it.
Oh, thank you. As are you, girl. Again, congratulations on this newish endeavor. Since we're like, what's this, episode 8? Yes, so like 8 episodes in. This is good stuff. So congratulations on this.
Thank you.
Like you always have 20,000 irons in the fire. So I'm like, yes, like homegirl's always moving. So you, honey, I bow. I bow to you.
Let me tell people how we met, because I like this story.
Yes.
There is a Rockabilly Weekender up in Massachusetts. It was the first year, going back to 2017 here, that it was a Rockabilly Weekender called Viva East. It's like a miniature Viva Las Vegas in the East Coast.
Yes.
And we were both in the pinup contest, and we were both in the running. But even though it was a contest, it was more like making friends, because in that contest, I've made so many good friendships, including Susie here.
Yes.
And I just know that even though we're not seeing each other all the time, we know about each other, and we like mutually have respect for all of us that were in there, in my head.
Yeah.
And then Susie was crowned Miss Viva East 2017. She was incredible. I loved her answers. She had like the spunky answer. And I know you had a dress malfunction, but she rocked it. It was amazing.
Man, that dress malfunction, it was intense. I don't usually lose my cool. I'm usually like, okay, like bad stuff happens, let me let it roll off. But I almost had like a full nervous breakdown. I was like in my room crying. I was like, I'm not gonna go on stage. And then I did have a spare dress, but it wasn't as flashy as I wanted it to be, but I think it still served its purpose. So I'm very thankful for that. And everybody was like super supportive, which was nice. So I was like trying to calm down, because you don't want to be that girl who's like attitude is like ruining everyone else's good time. So I'm like, great. I'm fine. It's okay. Everything's fine.
But I honestly think dress malfunctions are good luck, because the next year I had a dress malfunction.
Stop it, you did?
Yeah, I did. I didn't announce it, but my dress still worked. What happened was, I never really said this out loud to anybody except for my roommates and Harlow.
Right.
So the blue dress I wore, I won Viva East 2018 after Susie, but the morning of the dress that I wanted to wear, the zipper broke, and I called Harlow and I was like, and she's going to be a guest on my podcast soon. I said, you're a burlesque dancer. I need you to like corset me in as much as you can, because my zipper broke.
Like, get you up in there, honey.
But the zipper wasn't working, and she came up with an amazing idea of like from the movie Clue, that the girl had the tulle over her. So we cut one of my we actually cut one of my layers of tulle of the dress out from the bottom, and we wrapped it around me, and that's why I had that tulle around me, because the dress was broken in the back.
Genius.
All her idea.
Genius. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, should I start a Viva East curse for the winner? This is kind of exciting. I was like, oh.
I wonder if
we need to find out from last year's winner.
Yeah, I'm going to find out, because then it's just like a tradition.
Which is going to be so funny. I'm like, wow, that's so weird, but cool.
Yeah, so I'm really happy.
And you so deserve that win.
Yeah,
you deserve that win. Like, I was like, okay, y'all. Like, I'm like subliminally like trying to get to the other judges. Like, you better vote for her. She's incredible. Don't play.
Yeah, I almost
so
didn't.
I was so happy to pass the torch.
Thank you. That means so much because I was so nervous trying again, being like, I didn't even place the year before. What am I crazy trying again? But you never know. So
you never know. Again, I couldn't believe when they called my name. I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? Especially like being the only, like, I'm the darkest woman of color on that stage.
yes.
So it's like for me to even be, even place and then actually win, I was in shock. Like, I couldn't believe it because, we're probably getting ahead of ourselves, but, as far as the conversation goes, but it was definitely a wonderful shock that I was very happy about.
Yeah. And so, since we both know each other through pinup and stuff, what got you into pinup?
So I always had an interest in like old Hollywood and that type of imagery, that type of glamour. Like, I always, kind of found myself, really resonating with it. Not like visually, but I always, in my mind, I was like, I love this. Like, it's so extra. It's so beautiful. It's so classic. I remember the first time I saw Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, I was in high school, and it, still one of my favorite movies to this date. And that's one of the things that really kind of was like, oh, like, what's this kind of 50s vibe? Like, what is, I wanted to learn more about it. And then, like, at that time in like the early 2000s, I feel like that's when the pinup scene, I guess, kind of started ramping up. I was still in high school at the time, so I was like, I couldn't really participate myself. And I lived in a small town in Maryland, so like no one else was interested in that. So, just looking at the internet and like Masumi Max and other figures of the time really kind of spearheading the movement and the look of the time. So let's fast forward a little bit to 2013. I've been in makeup bars for a couple of years at that point, and I started working with Shameless Photography, who is one of the most notable pinup photography studios.
One day I hope to shoot with her.
Oh, you will have so much fun with Sophie. Like, it would be amazing. Like, I already see like the finished product.
And you do my makeup.
Yes, honey, I got you. So 2013, I was, about to break up my engagement. I was engaged at the time, and it was like an interesting transitionary phase. I was trying to move out of retail and focus on, doing makeup on set and things of that nature. So I had the internship with Shameless. And Sophie, the head photographer, is incredible. Like, she is one of the most amazing human beings I know. So working under her and kind of learning like the process of not just makeup, obviously, but, putting up the backdrops and lighting and kind of getting that groove there. And it was funny because like the first couple of times I worked with her, she said to me, she's like, I can't wait to get you in front of my camera. And at the time I was like, like, little chubby black girl, I don't really see much of me in that scene. Because again, at that time, there were still a couple of women of color starting to be prominent in the pinup scene, like Angelique Noir, Jenny Rio. Like, they were kind of like my reference points as far as women of color, anybody who sort of kind of looked like me within that genre. And I was like, like, Angelique is statuesque and tall and just like, I don't understand, like, she's ungodly, like how gorgeous she is. And like Jenny is so like, regal and that Parisian glam. I was like, I'm not that girl. Like, I don't fit this mold. So I was like, Sophie, you're crazy. You're nuts. Like, me, no. So broke up with my fiance that summer. Just start, trying to reinvent myself and all the things that just figure out what makes me feel good and confident. Because I lost a lot of that in that time I was in that relationship. And then just in general, just, kind of being comfortable in the background. Again, like being a makeup artist, I'm always making sure everyone else looks and feels great and kind of putting myself on the back burner. So at the end of that summer, when Sophie was hiring another photographer to be at Shameless for the New York location, I was she asked me to be one of the test models. And I was like, okay, I guess. And so at that time, like, I dyed my hair blonde because that was like my liberation. I was like, I'm single. I don't have to, do what someone else wants me to do anymore. Yes.
That's such a girl thing, because I dyed my hair yellow after I broke up with my ex.
Yes, right? Literally, as soon as we feel some liberation, we're like, where's that dye? Let's go. So that's when I started teetering into blonde. So I was like, I have a little short blonde hair and, just kind of dealing with some just personal transformative things. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Like, I'm just going to be the test model. I feel like seeing everyone's transformation and being pivotal in that behind the scenes, I was like, maybe this will be great for me too. So I did that little test shoot. I just did 2 different looks and something clicked. And I feel like it changed my life forever. I feel like while it sounds so cliche, it was something that helped to really build my confidence in myself and say, hey, I can also be glamorous. I can see myself in this sort of light. It doesn't have to be so exclusive to a certain type of look or a certain type of woman. So since 2013, I've been just plugging away. And for me, it's more so been like fun. Like, I know I'm never going to be like one of the top girls in the, community.
You're
but
top for
I'm
me.
having fun. Now, thank you, girl. And I appreciate that. It's like, it's so funny because in this journey, I didn't think I would have an effect on anyone aside from myself.
I feel the same way.
Right. It's so weird because it's like, you're just concentrating like, oh, okay, this is fun. Like, I'm enjoying myself and building myself up. And then you start getting the DMs saying like, I'm so glad to see someone who looks like me doing this and being out there and showing some type of confidence. And I'm like, confidence? Like, that's a big C word. Like, it's funny. Like, I was actually talking to Gertie maybe last month or so. She was doing one of her live streams and she was like, something that strikes me so much about you is your confidence. And I'm like, I don't even know if I call it confidence. I'm just, at this point, I'm like, this is me. I'm not perfect. I'm weird. I'm awkward. I'm quirky. I have my teeth are crooked. Like, I'm chunky. Like, but this is it. And I think just presenting myself like, okay, here I am, I guess that's resonated with people, surprisingly. So it's been a really cool journey, and I'm very, happy about meeting folks like you and just anybody, on, my Instagram friends and things of that nature, and whoever's been, coming along with me for this silly little ride I'm on. So I'm, as much as it sounds like faux earnestness, I am really just taken aback at all times. I'm like, I'm just a little Black girl from Queens, like, just figuring it out.
And along with that, you're helping other women too. Like you say, people reach out. Like, I've gotten those DMs too of women that say, I just because I'm fat, I never thought I could dress, with colors and stuff. At least with me, that's what they tell me. Because
Right.
my stuff is very vibrant. I mean, look, my hair, my dresses that I make, and I just tell people to do what they do. And then the events that I host, I do it because I've been told so much that there wasn't anybody on stage that, at least in Florida, I host pinup contests and events, and
right.
And I try to. People say I can't do it, so I try. And I've been successful. Luckily I've been successful. And
you're killing it, girl.
And I really want somebody out there that looks like the normal person, because I'm not that like Ashley looking girl. Because Ashley Graham is a banging plus size girl.
Right, but that's not what we all look like. It's
exactly.
Like, I'm like, man, I don't look like that. What?
My stuff doesn't go smoothly everywhere and like curvaceous.
I'm like,
I got the curl.
Right. It's like, but wait, like I'm an hourglass, but an hourglass with a belly. Like I just, it's like we all don't fit the same mold.
Yes.
So it's fantastic that, we're able to present ourselves and be like, hey, like we're here, like we're different and it's okay. Like it's still something that's very beautiful and still something that should be put to the forefront.
So do you think that do you think that there's like a pinup beauty standard? And do you think it's being broken slowly?
I do think that traditionally there has been that standard. It's like you have, your Miss Mosh, who is gorgeous. Like I remember being at Viva Las Vegas and I saw her at a booth and I was like, I don't even want to be in the same 100 yards of her. Like I am disgusting. Like I'm gonna go hide. Like she's gorgeous. I'm like I gotta go. So it's like that. There's that, and then you have your Brianna Ashleys and that type of look. And then when you do have women of color, they all tend to, well, traditionally, not so much anymore. But again, when I was first gaining a little interest in it, I was like, it's very specific, always very thin for the most part, like a little curvy. But now, since it's becoming more mainstream and thanks to the internet and Instagram and the world just becoming smaller, we kind of see more of us like, oh, you like this too, and you're rocking this, like just bringing us all together. So I do think the mold is starting to shift, which is awesome. I do feel that, unfortunately, with our new climate, while more of us are coming to the forefront, it also is presenting more people that feel that we should not be, prominent and be proud of ourselves and present ourselves in the best light that we feel that we should be able to. Fat phobia is real, unfortunately.
Yes.
Racism is real. So while there's a growing amount of people who are supportive and are happy to see some changes, there's always just going to be those dissenters. That's life. People like to hate, but thankfully there's less of that sort of noise, and then more people who are like, there's room for everybody. There's so many different types of beauty that makes me feel like, okay, like maybe I do fit in here a little bit. But at the same time, like there's that part of me who's like, even if I don't fit in, I'm just gonna keep it rolling because I'm having a good time.
Yes. That's like you just hit the nail on the I don't know the phrase, but you
Round the head, girl.
You hit the nail on the head there. That's why when people tell me about confidence, it's just, you just got to be comfortable with yourself, there's going to be haters out there, and you just have to know, you just have to learn in your confidence, and you believe in yourself, and you tried your best in whatever you're doing and whatever it is, and that's what I try to live by every day.
Right. Because no one can walk in your shoes. Only you can walk in your shoes. Like no one knows where you started from, like what brought you to this point to be able to say, I'm going to walk confidently through this life how I see fit. And that's the thing that no one can take away from another human being, which is incredible as well.
Well, is there a time that you want to share that you felt that you were being, I don't know if the word I would use is like people were being condescending to you because of your weight or your color, that you could like vividly, like one experience, I'm sure.
Picture it. New York City, 1985. There I was born. Not that bad. But I feel like, again, going back to my past relationship, I've never been a small girl. Like, I've never been a small girl. And of course, you have your ebb and flow with that, but for the most part, I'm like, well, all right, we're working with it. We're a constant work in progress.
Feel you.
Right? I was like, it's a work in progress. And being with my former fiance, who was, constantly trying to tear me down, it's like, you're eating a cupcake, like, like you shouldn't be eating that cupcake. And I like, oh, you look thinner in the pictures from when I first met you than now. Like the little things. And I feel like that's a lot to do with his own personal inadequacies. And, that's, people try to reflect those inadequacies on you to make them feel better. And I think that was something that I learned being in that realm as well. Another example, I'll take it even into my life as a makeup artist, especially when I was first starting out, usually being the only Black person on set, who wasn't talent, feeling like the help. And if you don't look a certain way, especially in fashion, like, they just treat you like dirt, which is disgusting. It's like you're less than a human. It's like, but wait, why shouldn't my talent speak for itself? Like, why should I just be put in a corner like I'm Quasimodo in the bell tower? And like, it's so strange. It's been interesting. I feel like my experience at a historically Black university helped to change that. So I was like, oh, my body type is accepted here. Going to mainstream schools all through grade school, feel like, oh, I'm, this chubby girl in the corner. And then I go to Howard University, they're like, hey girl. I'm like, me? Like, me? So I feel like that was helpful, but it's definitely a journey. There's always as far in regards to microaggressions with racism, there's always also microaggressions with weight as well, especially if you're a little heavier. So navigating through that is a challenge, but thankfully, thanks to more of a body positive movement out here, I feel like the aggression is lessening, but I still feel like there's still ways to go. But I'm confident that things are moving. And again, like knowing yourself and, knowing what you have to offer, like there are days where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I am like I'm the chunkiest girl on earth. I'm gross. Like I'm going to be single forever. Oh my God. Like just all those negative voices that pop into your head. And then you have to say, wait a minute, like I'm okay. Like I'm more than okay. And I'm worthy.
Yes.
So it's like reminding yourself of your worth is most important. If that means putting on some hair, putting on some lipstick, whatever makes you feel good and gets you out of that negative mindset, I feel like anyone needs to do that.
I could so relate in everything you're saying.
This is why, we understand each other.
Yeah, because for me, for example, my biggest bullies in my life, and hopefully they don't listen, which I don't think they're listening, is my family. Like ever since I was little, I have a twin, and I was always getting compared. Yeah, we don't look alike. And I was always getting compared to like our, how we look and what we did. And I was always chubby. I was always big. And it was always an attack on my weight. And being Hispanic is like, if you don't eat, then they think something's wrong. And if you eat, then you think you're fat. And I'm like, oh, shit.
You can't win. You can't win.
So I left to college. And then when I left to college, I went to UF. And it was predominantly white. But then there, I felt hate for being Hispanic, even though I don't look very, I don't know. It was like a weird time. I spoke about it in another episode with another girl. And then when I came back down, and being in South Florida, I worked really hard to buy my house really young. I bought my house and I just wanted to be alone because I wanted to work on myself and not have that negativity over me. And that's what you're saying. Find what you have and then, make it work for you. And,
exactly.
I can't, I'm still sometimes self-conscious when I go out in South Beach because everything is like in the fashion world, but it's like Miami. So it's like bikinis.
Right, it's like amplified.
Yeah. And it's like snotty people with money and they look at you just because you're fat. They think you're dirty and a sty. It's that stigma.
Right. And it's like, ma'am, I'm chunky because I can afford good food. Get out of here.
That used to be a thing in the past.
Right. I'm like, madam.
So we I feel like we've gone through the same thing just in different adventures.
Yes. Like I feel like it's almost there's that common link between, big girls who are like, I guess, fashionistas and, like to, be extra. Like there's always that, person that's gonna try to make you feel like you don't deserve to be extra. And it's like, but madam, your man will be in my DMs, so don't play with me.
That is so true.
Do not play play with me.
So how do you feel with talking about you're obviously colored. How do you feel about the presence in the color community in the pinup world?
It's been really cool. Like every year, I've only gone to Viva Las Vegas maybe 3 times. My first one was in 2014. And every time I've gone, it's amazing to see how many more women of color are popping up. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like, we're finding that common link, like whether it be, with, the Latinx, community, want to get it right, Latinx, Black folks, or our Asian pinups. And it's just so cool seeing like the growth with across the board, and everybody's usually real friendly and welcoming and hanging out with everybody, and it's exciting. Like, it's honestly very exciting. I feel like some people who might have been in the scene longer might feel that things are getting oversaturated, now there are too many people and this, that, and the other. It's like, I feel like it's just making the world smaller, which is not a bad thing.
No,
like, why can't we develop? Right. It's like, why can't we develop the sense of community? There's more of us. Like, this is awesome. There's room for everybody.
Yes.
Everybody's got a different thing. Like, everybody's got a different thing, and it shouldn't be so much of a feeling like, oh, this should be an exclusive type of vibe. Again, there's like, I'm different than the next, girl, and you're different than this one over here. Like, everybody has their own identity. Hopefully. But
that's what's so beautiful, and that's why I used to be part of a pinup group, but they had that closed mentality, and that's why I started my own kind of like, and I didn't even do it as a group. I just put on events I wanted to go to, because in South Florida there's nothing that I like that's rockabilly or pinup related.
I'm surprised with all that beautiful Art Deco and like.
That's just for the people with those fancy scandalous dresses.
Gotcha.
If you ever really take a notice at my pictures, like at Art Deco weekend, like I'm the only one dressed up. Maybe like a few people they paid. And then
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's so when I try to put on events and stuff to make, and people have come out because I was told by this other group that there was nobody else like this, and it's just this, and I'm like, no, there has to be other people that feel the same way. So then I just started putting all these events, and then I got people that followed me online that were just too shy, and they finally came out, and now they're like not shy.
Yes.
It's just about showcasing people's personalities and letting them know that they're welcome, and that's why I love the oversaturatedness, if they want to call it that, because it just makes everything so different and so fun, and then you never know what's going to happen.
Right. It helps to bring new life as well, because everything can't stay exactly the same forever. Like, there needs to be some type of evolving feel to it. Because it's like, it was just the same. Like, where's the fun in that? Like,
I've even seen a lot of diversity in the pinup magazines now. Like, I feel like there's way more than it used to be, at least even like 2 years back. It's way different now.
Like, it used to be like the same like 5 girls. Now there's so many. It's like, oh, okay, like, yes. Even seeing on Instagram, on those share pages, seeing so many different people pop up. And I'm like, it's great for me as well, just to see who all is out there. Yeah. Like, who else who else resonates with me? Who else can I, look to for some inspiration? So I feel like, again, like, it might be oversaturated, but the world's also overpopulated. So
there's a bunch of Kim Kardashians out there. I mean,
honey.
Well, I have a few
oversaturation.
That's oversaturated and Botox everywhere. That's in South, and you can see that in South Beach.
I can imagine you see some sights, honey. Some sights.
It's great people watching on Ocean Drive. If you ever come down here, we're just gonna sit there and just watch.
When the world stops ending, I'm making a trip down there, because I do love Miami. Like, I do love Miami.
Yes. So we'll see. I asked on my Instagram if they had questions for you, and I have a few. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So I have Sarah Robla. She said, "What bomb This is exactly what she said. What bomb brand do you recommend? I'm sure she means clothing brand.
Okay. For clothing, I do love Collectif. Vintage Vandalism is killing it right now. Like, killing it. Like, her pieces are incredible. Who else? I do like some Micheline Pitt. Like, a couple of her pieces are really cool.
Do you sew?
I'm starting to learn to sew.
I was just curious because you wore the Gertie stuff, so I was like...
Yes. She made it. I just wore it. But I bought a bunch of patterns because I was like, I'm going to finally get this sewing together. So I literally, in my closet, have like stacks of patterns on the ready. So for all you sewing folks out there, check out Charm Patterns by Gertie.
Yes. I love her patterns.
So good. You had that Starburst dress that of hers. I was like, it is so good. Like, this is it. I'm like, I need to get on the ball. So I have so many ideas of things I want to make, and I'm like, I just gotta sit down and figure this thing out. So definitely, you know, for some folks, Gertie patterns are amazing. And also thrifting. Like, I feel like no one talks about thrifting anymore, but you can find some gems thrifting. Like, definitely, like, yeah, I dig, but I feel like it's worth it. You can incorporate that with, you know, the stuff you buy and all that. So Collectif, Vintage Vandalism,
and thrifting,
Gertie, thrift store.
And also there's a girl I follow on TikTok. I don't remember her name right now, but she like looks like she's wearing vintage, but it's all stuff from Ross or from TJ Maxx, and she pairs them up very nicely.
Oh, I'm like, that's a talent. Like, that's a special talent because that takes a particular eye that I don't quite have yet. But I'm like, yeah, girl, do that.
I do that with Old Navy. Some of my dresses are actually from Old Navy.
Stop it.
Yeah, it's all you gotta do is put a belt on it and then maybe a cardigan and that's it. You know?
Right, and zhuzh it. Like, yes, honey.
Second question from Mimi Love. What is the best bra?
Ooh, okay. So I love, there's this Polish brand, and I know I'm going to pronounce it real wrong. It's Ewa Milacek, I want to say. Her bras are really good. I also like Goddess. That's kind of like my go-to. Like, every time I'm on something with Gertie, we're always talking about this long line bra. It's the Goddess Adelaide. So it comes with straps, but you can take the straps off.
Oh yeah, I saw that video of hers, and she said you recommended it. Yes.
It is my jam. I heard that it's continuing it. I'm going to be sad if this is true, and I'm going to have to find an alternative. But it's great because it's like, you know, smooths everything out real cute, and then I could put like a shaper brief over it to keep everything smooth. So Goddess Adelaide, it is everything. And also, Curvy Kate can be hit or miss. Like, I did buy one Curvy Kate and the strap literally like just like evaporated. But then I had another Curvy Kate and it's still going strong. So maybe save them for last. And then there's a brand based in Canada called Fitfully Yours. And they run, I believe, to a size, like an M cup in some of their bras.
Wow.
So, yeah. Like, they have, like, really, like, a range of styles, patterns. So, definitely Fitfully Yours. Check them out as well.
Are any of these, like, a bullet bra kind of look? Now, this is a personal question for me.
The closest to a bullet bra kind of style is the Goddess Adelaide. Okay. It does give, like, a soft bullet. So, most of them are a little more rounded, but the Goddess Adelaide has a slight little bullety shebang.
I gotta try that out before it just gets discontinued.
Girl, go on Amazon, scoop it up.
Let's see. And then the last question I have is from Snorky Murph.
Okay.
It is, what is your favorite cosplay, and do you have any future cosplays in mind?
So, my favorite cosplay is my Miss Piggy cosplay.
I was hoping you'd say that. I love that one.
Yes. My Miss Piggy, like, that is also something that has evolved over the years, because when I first did it, the nose I used, the paint, it was a whole mess. But as I've gotten, you know, a little more practiced with the application, and I sourced out a different place for the nose, and everything started being more seamless. I was like, okay, now I feel good here. Because like pinup, cosplay is an evolution. Like cosplay puberty is terrible. Like it is terrible. But I was like, okay, like I'm in a good place now. So now usually like I feel like I've been photographed a lot in the silver dress version of Piggy, which is one of my favorites. I did like Muppets Tonight Piggy with, you know, her little blazer kind of jam. And then I did Pigs in Space Piggy, which is another one of my favorites. It's so comfortable. Like, it's the most comfortable cosplay ever. So sadly, con season is a bust. But next time New York Comic Con rolls around, I have another Piggy that I've been waiting to do.
Ooh.
It's literally like my dream cosplay. So I'm like, all right, I have more time, which is good. And
looking at the bright side, you have more time to get it perfected.
Yes, I'm like, that's my jam. Like it's always so fun to do because I can be as obnoxious and ridiculous as possible.
That's the fun thing. I love seeing the people that cosplay and they do it like their own way. Like your Miss Piggy is perfect. I just love how it looks and and it's so fun. I actually bought the regular choice heels with the Miss Piggy on the heel.
Yeah.
And I want to recreate the same dress she has on. It's like a ballerina look. So I want to wear that with the heels. And
do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Then I'll tag you. Inspired by Susie Dahl.
Well, Miss Piggy is the original plus size diva, so I'm like, all props to her. So Miss Piggy is my fave. Piggy's my fave.
So before you go, is there any like advice you'd give for anybody that is nervous based on their color or their size? You know, I know we've talked about it a lot, but just like if something you wanted to tell somebody, just girl this, and what would you tell them?
I would say don't be afraid to reach out to people who you see actively in the scene. Like I feel like most people are really like kind, and I know I never mind anyone sending me a message like, hey, I have a question about this. How do you get into this magazine? Because I feel like it takes a lot of the nervousness out of it, because I know it's scary. Like it can be intimidating from someone who started off like, I don't even understand how to begin this thing. You know, I say, you know, even hit me up personally. I don't mind. Like any questions you have, hit me up, or if there's someone else you admire, hit them up too, and just kind of pick their brain a little bit just to see, like, you know, what they have to say about getting started or what have you. Because again, we've all been there. We've all been someone who is like, I don't know where to begin. Who do I talk to? Is this even for me? So I say, please, please, please don't be afraid to ask. What else? Like that's my biggest one. Like just reach out. Like thanks to the internet, you know, social media, you can pretty much have access to anyone.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid. Like please don't be afraid.
And that's why I love that. I love when people reach out to me, and that's why I bought the hotline 1-833-48 Pinup, because
which is so cool.
everyone's always on their cell phone. So I was like, either you could call me or you could text me, and then I could use it for my own like on my business side for Pinup Miami and my events. But then also people can message me, and I really want to make, like, at least, and I feel you do too, is you want to make an impact, and you want to make sure that everyone knows that there's a story that everyone has to tell, and your story matters. And this is why I also started the podcast, because I know that people see me online, but there's so much more to me than just my hair or the way I look or my happiness, because we all go through things. So I really wanted to break that wall down and then have different guests like yourself and everyone just talk about different subjects, just to let everyone know we're all the same behind the makeup and the hair and the weight.
Exactly. Right. It's like, when we're done, I'm gonna take this hair off and like get back into a comfy t-shirt, like like the whole facade. But it's like, you know, it's great to just make this accessible for people.
Yes.
Because, you know, you don't need a whole lot of money to be able to partake in this type of hobby. Like just, you know, if you have a little, you know, ingenuity, you can put some outfits together. Again, that's why thrifting is great. Like I did so much thrifting when I started. I was like, I'm a starving artist. What do I do? So
the best thing is a belt. You could get a dress and put a belt and a flower. You're good.
Belt, flower, a red lip, done. Like, that's the pinup starter kit. That's all you need.
There you go. And if you can't do your makeup, just put cat eyeglasses on, and then you're good.
Right? Like, just fake it till you make it, girl.
Hi, Susie. I want to say thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome. I'm so glad we got to see each other. I miss you so much.
Virtual social distance hug.
Right. We're like, Oh, man.
Thank you. And again, if you're watching us on YouTube, I'll try to put pictures of events of us together at Viva East. I'll put, visuals so you could join along in our stories. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, we're on every podcast.
Yes, doing big things.
Subscribe. Yes. I'd appreciate it. Hit a like or a comment if you can. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Yes, thank y'all. Thank